So, when I left Kampala, Uganda for Kigali, Rwanda, I kid you not, I thought I was ready for change. Oh boy, I was wrong. And to me, the biggest culture shock, it was not a language barrier, though it is one of the biggest culture shock for me. It wasn't the clean streets because I was actually anticipating that. To me, I would say that the biggest culture shock, amongst everything, it was the price tags on different commodities and produce and products in supermarkets and different grocery shops and stores. In today's vlog, I want to give you a broader picture when it comes to my cost of living as a Ugandan on a very tight budget, how I was able to travel all the way from Kampala, Uganda into Kigali, Rwanda, live there successfully for 2 weeks without having a lot of hiccups when it comes to my finances. Before I dive any further too, and this is the first time you're watching a vlog from me, hi there, I'm Tanya, Ugandan content creator. And a few weeks ago, I got an opportunity to explore Kigali, Rwanda. Feel free to subscribe, like, comment. Videos are still rolling out. And I'm very hopeful that my intent, which is to inspire you to visit Rwanda and also Rwandese themselves to be proud of their country and to market it because it literally has a lot to offer on market. For today's vlog, I'm going to concentrate my discussion on a few things. That is accommodation. I want to talk about food. I want to talk about transportation and a few other things, miscellaneous things that might come into your budget. Now, starting off strong, I have to start with accommodation, guys. And since I was going to be in Kigali for only 2 weeks, I made it a must to make sure that I book an accommodation which had all utilities. It was in the city center, and also transportation wouldn't be a very, very big issue. So I used booking.com, and specifically I went for Xenia, and they haven't sponsored this video, as you know, sometimes people might think otherwise, but I really like the fact that they were very, very affordable, and also on top of that, their place is very clean, located in Kigali city, almost city center. I wouldn't say city center, but within the proximity of the city center, meaning that you can literally walk even to town in case you have time. In case you don't have time, yeah, it is a distance of about 1,000 franc or 1,500 franc, which is approximately about 4,500 Ugandan shillings. And also they have different kind of units into the accommodation. They have mixed dorms, they have female dorms, they have single roomed kind of accommodation or rooms. And specifically for me, I actually went for the mixed dorm, and surprisingly the mixed dorm had not very many men, but I realized that men, like, it is not written there that it's a male dorm, but mostly there are men in there. Like every person who books a dormitory, they end up into the mixed dorm, especially for men. And a night it was 7,000 randis franc. 7,000 randis franc is about 15,000 Ugandan shillings. That is also around 500 Kenyan shillings. Very, very affordable. Book online, and whenever you book online, I'm pretty sure they reserve for you a place. The other thing I really liked about the place is that it literally gives you an opportunity to connect with other people. For example, the time I was in Kigali, Rwanda, and specifically using the accommodation, I met people from Cameroon, I met people from Kenya, I met people from Nigeria, I met people from where else? From Japan, from China, from Germany, and you are able to share ideas, connect, and reach different levels of sharing information. Then on top of that, they have a shared room where all of you guys can cook basing on whatever meal you want to cook, but there are rules and regulations you have to follow. They have a reading spot where they have a couple of books. As a bookworm, I literally enjoyed that spot. They have balcony areas that literally have sights of Kigali city center. All that on your 7,000 randis franc or $5 a night. And in case you're not a fan of sleeping with a lot of people in a dormitory, there are other options where you pay about $15 a night. That is approximately 120, but around 12,000 randis franc all the way to 15,000 randis franc. On top of that, the second point would be utilities. Also on your 7,000 randis franc, you get all utilities on board. I'm telling you, they have the fastest internet. That is canal canal box. Correct me in the comment section below, guys, if I'm mentioning that wrong. Water, electricity, security, all those different things, regardless of the fact that Kigali is already a secure place. On your 7,000 randis franc, you get all those amenities, and there wasn't actually anything different that I had to pay water differently, I had to pay electricity differently. You know, it was just a very, very seamless kind of stay. And in summary, when it comes to accommodation, I actually spent 81,220 randis franc. That is approximately 7,000 Kenyan shillings, and also approximately 200,000 Ugandan shillings. So that is pretty, very, very affordable. Now, the second thing I want to talk about, it has to be transportation. I want to talk about food, but let me talk about transportation first. Guys, transportation in Kigali, Rwanda, as a foreigner, correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section below, and give me tips too, because I'm coming back very soon. Yes, I'm coming back very soon. Transportation in Kigali to me was really, very expensive. I don't know if my bargaining powers were not working anymore. Those motorbike guys were working between 3,000 randis franc all the way to 10,000 randis franc. I tried Yego. I tried Move, but I think Move, they only have cars. I tried Yego. Yego was the option that actually you would recommend me to use, and also I understand for myself. But most of the time, I would put my request into the application, and they told me there is no motorbike present. The only option was to stop whatever motorbike is passing by, and those guys, whenever they would realize that you don't know Kinyarwanda or you are stammering in Kinyarwanda, they would heighten the prices of motorbikes. That was my biggest issue. And the first day, that is arriving into Nyabugogo bus terminal all the way to the accommodation, the guy charged me over 5,000 randis franc, and yet he just took me around. You're not taking me around the city. Oh my good Lord, that was very bad, very bad. And that was my first impression of transportation in Kigali, Rwanda. Now, mind you, 5,000 randis franc is not a lot of money based on the distance that he was supposed to take me, but I didn't know. Anyway, now, this is what I have to say. Public transportation is there, but it is not very, reliable. In a sense, to me, in a sense that most of the time you might not get to your actual destination on time, and also they tend to be very packed. Then on top of that, you need a card. So the whole of that process, I truly believe that you need to have been into the system like for a month, or 2 months or 3 months, to have adapted really into the system of transportation, especially the bus one, so that you can vividly move very seemingly. But buses were very affordable according to the research I did, and also part of the last times while I was in Kigali, Rwanda, I got an opportunity to use a bus. But regardless, I think buses range from around 300 franc all the way to 700 franc. Even some distances can go up to 1,000 franc. Now, motorbikes for them are very reliable, but I have to just say that you have to have your bargaining power in check, or you have to always be in a place, I don't know, where that application can work for you. Remember the first few days also I got an issue when I bought the line that is from Nyabugogo bus terminal. By the way, I bought that line around, it was 500 franc. Yeah, but the first few days it wouldn't register me into the system, and those are the first days that I really had to do a lot of work, move up and about, learn the place very well, do my research, go to the Ugandan embassy, and I wasted a lot of money within that period of time. Yeah, but this is what I think, or this is what I say. Most of the Rwandese I've now interacted with, they say that most of those guys were either con men, and because of the language, they had to increase the prices, but motorbikes are quite affordable. But you have to make it the point that you have an idea, a picture of how much it would actually cost you to move up and about. For example, from the accommodation, always make the point that you ask your custodian or caregiver or security guy, how much would it be from that place to the place you are going to. I got an opportunity to interact with like three policemen of the Rwanda police unit or something like that. They helped me a lot. I interacted with these policemen and they stopped for me the motorbike and they told them where I was going because I had explained to them, and they told them the prices, and most of the time the prices would be 500 randis franc. Mind you, no journey I had initiated was 500 randis franc. So that's how I knew that they were getting to me. But regardless, transportation is pretty very flexible and quite very available because motorbikes are very many. The last thing I want to talk about it is trains. I didn't see a lot of trains there. Randis, let me know in the comment section below. You guys, do you have a train system, a public train system or something like that? I saw a couple of tukutukus, though I didn't check any. Then the Ubers are also quite expensive. Yeah, they start from around 7,500 randis franc all the way to even 15,000, 20,000 randis franc, basing on even the shortest distance. Yes. Now let's talk about food and groceries, because I think this is the bride of the day. You guys, groceries in Kigali, Rwanda, according to my experience, they are quite expensive. The only thing that I saw, and it was not that expensive, in my own opinion, it has to have been sugar. Yeah. But the rest of these things are very expensive, according to me. Guys, don't quote me wrong. This is according to my own opinion and comparing prices back at home in Kampala, Uganda. Yes, this is my honest opinion. Things there are quite expensive, and I don't know how Rwandese are surviving, but that cost of things is literally high. Let's start from simple things like sodas. Guys, the smallest soda you can find in Kigali, Rwanda is 1,000 franc. That is in a supermarket. But also the same soda, you can get it from another place and it's about 2,000 randis franc. Now, I understand that different places, but the basic price of that small soda, the basic price that you'll find throughout in retail shops, in supermarkets, here and there, it is 1,000 franc. 1,000 franc is like 3,000 Ugandan shillings. That is like 100 Kenyan shillings. Guys, that is high. Basing on the fact that the same soda in Kampala, Uganda. Guys, this is according to my own opinion. So, just giving you a broader picture about how we live here and how things are in Kigali, Rwanda. The same bottle of soda in Kampala, Uganda, it is 1,000 Ugandan shillings. 1,000 Ugandan shillings, like 330 randis franc. The same bottle of soda with the same meals. Believe it or not, the same meals. And I was like, as a person who enjoys Fantas all the time, I was like, oh my good lord, this is very high. Let's go to bread. Now, I don't want to say that bread is very expensive, but it felt like, especially good bread is going to be very expensive. It starts from around 1,900 randis franc. That is good bread, and this is not even a kilogram of bread. And you can get good bread from Simba. That is from my experience. I tried to get bread elsewhere. It was really not giving. It was a little bit cheaper, around 800 randis franc, about 700 randis franc, but it was not the best bread. But Simba, they have some good bread, but I believe the good one, it is about 1,900 randis franc. And they also have another one which is slightly lower in weight, that is 1,300 randis franc. But when you do the comparison back into Ugandan shillings, again, that bread is very expensive. Not very expensive, but slightly on the high end. Let's talk about other things like cooking oil. Let's talk about other things like maybe bread spread. Now, bread spread, I was really very surprised on this one too, that it actually starts from around 1,700, 1,800 randis franc, 1,600 randis franc. Oh my god, that is very high. Mind in Kampala, Uganda, the same size, you can get the same size of bread spray, for example, Blue Band, at around 2,500 Ugandan shillings. 2,500 Ugandan shillings, now it's about maybe 800, 900 franc. Yeah, randis franc. But the same size in Kigali, Rwanda goes all the way up to 1,600, like times two. Let's go to cooking oil. Also, when it comes to cooking oil, it's quite on the high end. For example, a liter of cooking oil, it starts from around 10,000 randis franc. That is good oil, like sunflower oil. Good oil, like sunflower. 10,000 randis franc is like 30,000 Ugandan shillings. The same bottle of olive oil in Kampala, Uganda, it's about 17,000 Ugandan shillings. 17,000 Ugandan shillings is like 6,000 Rwandese franc. So I'm telling you, things are like times two. And I'm trying to comprehend things into my brain and into my mind so that I can fit into the budget very well. Now, this is what I have to say. When you're going to Kigali, Rwanda, especially if you're on a very tight budget and you're exploring and you're doing a lot of different things, make it a point that you buy things in retail shops. Yes, I've said that, and it's the absolute truth. I'm talking right now to people who are on budgets, like not budgets, but strict budgets. Simbas and grocery shops, they have good prices and good things. You can get slightly good things too in retail shops, and most of the time you'll get at least 200 francs or for 100 franc or for something like that. And also it applies to the same other things like groceries, all that is groceries, but to be specific, vegetables, onions, and tomatoes. For example, when you go into these supermarkets, most of the time they measure these things in kilograms, and kilograms of, they might start from around 8,000 Rwandese franc and above of, for example, tomatoes. But again, you can get a slightly lower weight of tomatoes when you go to retail shops or vegetable shops. The good thing, they're almost everywhere. You guys know that I enjoy cappuccinos, and cappuccinos, surprisingly, in Kigali, Rwanda, to me, it felt like they were not so expensive. And they start from around 2,500 Rwandese franc all the way to 5,000 Rwandese franc. 2,500 Rwandese franc is about 10,000, 11,000 Ugandan shillings all the way to 20,000 Ugandan shillings. Yeah, so that is pretty very affordable. I think that is also one thing that I did realize, that it is really, really very affordable compared to back at home. I am a person who actually enjoys coffee a lot, and also their coffee is very, very good. Oh my good Lord, very, very good. I think the last time I had good coffee, comparing it to the quality of coffee I had in Kigali, Rwanda, on occasions that I had cappuccinos, was the cappuccinos I had in Nairobi, that is at the Village Market Mall. Yeah, there is a restaurant up there, I'm forgetting its name, but they have good cappuccinos. The same quality, the same quality. So their coffee is class and very, very, very affordable. Now, one thing I also want to talk about when it comes to food and groceries, it is dining out. I did realize that price is actually not that high, but you cannot manage them, especially if you are going to be eating out on a day-to-day basis. There are some days you will have to buy groceries and cook yourself back at home. A good meal would cost you from around 3,500 Rwandese franc all the way to 15,000 Rwandese franc, based on the hotel or restaurant that you are visiting. There are a couple of eat out spots that I would recommend you to go, not daily because they're also expensive. For example, in Nyabugogo, I'll definitely put it on screen, but there are very, very many eat out places where people just go enjoy good food, especially Rwandese cuisine. I wouldn't recommend you to go there daily. Yeah, not daily. Once in every other day, but make your meals at home. You can literally save more. Juices, they have this beautiful tasty juice. It looks beautiful and it's very tasty. It's made up of ginger and different kind of, let me know in the comment section below. I'll probably put it on screen, but there is that beautiful looking juice that tastes so amazing. It felt like ginger and cinnamon in it. It runs for 1,000 Rwandese franc. Water in Kigali, Rwanda is quite expensive with a small bottle, and I'm saying quite expensive based on my experience, guys. And back at home, comparing the prices, a small bottle of water would go for around 700, 800 Rwandese franc. That is a small bottle of water. That is like 2,000 Ugandan shillings. And the same bottle would go for around 500 Ugandan shillings. That is about, I don't know, even very, very small change in Uganda. But it is pretty expensive, especially drinking water. But yeah, it is pretty manageable, especially if you're going to be buying gallons. Like when you're buying a big kind of, jerry can, it will be pretty affordable. Now, this brings me to the last bit of the vlog. This is others, and in others I really want to talk about a few things like leisure time, night time out, medication, and miscellaneous things like clothes and things like that. Now let's start from medication. It was actually one. I was about to say two, but the second one I didn't get the treatment. It was only one occasion that I had to visit a pharmacy. Pharmacies are very, very reliable. Like almost in every other corner you will see a pharmacy. I didn't have to have a consultation. Being a VMMC health worker, I knew the drugs I wanted and all that. But I don't know about that. Let me know in the comment section below. And this, do you guys have to pay for consultation, and how much would that be in case someone gets sick and has to be admitted or has to see a doctor or a clinician or something like that? But pharmacies are pretty available almost at every other corner. And also medication was pretty affordable, because there's some point I had to run into the pharmacy, get acetaminophen, get some Fragile, that is metronidazole, and get also some anti-inflammatory drugs for my sinuses. But the whole bill was about 2,200 randis franc. That is very affordable, very affordable. And they gave me drugs like for 5 days, so that is very affordable. Kayamba, comparing it to Nairobi, Kenya, where the prices are pretty very high when it comes to pharmacies, and when it comes to, they call them chemists. So drugs, to me, they were pretty very affordable, basing on the condition I had and I was treating in the moment. The other thing I want to talk about, it is leisure and nighttime out. I actually believe that Rwandese are not so big when it comes to nighttime out. Like Kampala, Uganda, people in Kampala just love partying and drinking a lot. But regardless, according to my observation, first of all, there aren't going to be very many people during very late hours in the night. But second of all, also food and drinks and beers are quite very affordable. For example, take an example of a beer. They have their, I'm forgetting the name. By the way, I don't drink, but I had to move out a couple of times with a couple of my friends from the accommodation to just get a feel of the nightlife and all that. But they have this special beer. I'll put it on screen. It is pretty affordable. I believe it's about 6,000 Ugandan shillings. But 6,000 Ugandan shillings is about 2,500 randis franc. But it can vary also based on where you are drinking it from. Also, I did realize that most of the grocery stores have a section where you can buy liquor. Yeah. Now, I did get an opportunity to buy a ticket or to buy, an access kind of fee into any concert or into any kind of leisure activity. So I can't give you a broader picture on that. But in case someone knows, let's also know in the comment section below. That would be very amazing, Kayamba. The last thing I would love to talk about, it has to be clothes. Now, clothes in Kigali, Rwanda are pretty also expensive. They're on the high end, maybe because of taxes and importation and all that, but they're on the high end. And also they don't have second-hand clothes. This has been confirmed that whoever brings them into the country, most of the time they are highly taxed, and people don't usually go for them because they are going to end up being for very high costs. So I would recommend that in case you are in a situation where you need to buy something, just do your research very well on the place that you are going to be getting it. They have good luxury kind of shops, and that means that the prices are going to be very huge also. But also they have streets, for example, when you go into Kigali city center, which are dedicated to clothes, and different varieties actually there. Pants range from around 30,000 randis franc, for example, for my size and what I did ask. 30,000 randis franc all the way to 80,000 randis franc. The same thing goes for t-shirts. Good ones, I believe they're around 35, 45 randis franc all the way to 65,000 randis franc. You didn't ask a lot when it comes to ladies' clothes, but that would give you a picture, I believe. Yeah. In simplicity, I would say that as you travel to Kigali, Rwanda, make it a point that you stay within your lane. Don't spend a lot of money, which that at the end of the day, it is not like in your budget, because I don't want you again to be stranded in Kigali, Rwanda. Kigali, Rwanda tends to be very affordable in case you budget to the dot and make sure that everything is in check. Leave in a few shillings or francs or dollars that in case anything happens, they'll have to save me. That is for the miscellaneous. You never know. But also, yeah, make the point that you budget systematically. Don't waste a lot of money, and don't eat out every other day. It is going to be very expensive. Most of the time, these accommodation provide places where you can actually cook your food. They have good cabinets where you can keep your food and things like that. In simplicity, just make the point that you stay within your lane. Don't spend a lot of money. Kigali is beautiful. Kigali is very safe. It's just an amazing, amazing place. It's very, very secure. And that's why I think that I'm actually going back very, very soon. Yeah. Let me know in the comment section below what I've missed out. I know my brain cannot remember everything, but let me know in the comment section below what I've missed out. And yeah, that would be amazing to share with other people who will be watching this video, not only now, even 10 years to come from now. Tanya and Shylock switching out. Bye for now, guys.